Hagafen.
Amen.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, kivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-shabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
Mazel tov. You guys can go back to your seats. Jaden, you'll come up a little later to help us out.
And for our opening song, we will be singing together the words of Lecha Dodi, the words that we welcome Shabbat in, just as if we were welcoming in a bride. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 Lecha Dodi. Ya la 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 Likrat Halam. La 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 la, B'nai Shabbat, B'nai Shabbat, Nekabela. La 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 la, Lecha Dodi. La 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 la, Likrat Halam. La 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 la, B'nai Shabbat, B'nai Shabbat, Nekabela. Amor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmiyanu el ha'miyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shem u'tiferet. La 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 la, B'nai Shabbat. Ya la 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 la, B'nai Shabbat. B'nai Shabbat nekabela. Ovi v'shalom ateret ba'ala. Gam Utzohola Tochemuneh Am Zlula Boi Chala Boi Chala B'nai Shabbat.
When we embrace Shabbat, Shabbat embraces us, enveloping us in its warmth, filling us with gratitude, giving us permission to rest our weary hearts. It is not that we keep Shabbat, rather Shabbat keeps us.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah Be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol be'Yisrael Bagala u'v'zman kariv v'yimeru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lamei amaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Da'amiron me'alma V'yimeru Amen.
We rise now, if you're able, as we continue with Baruch Hu.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Blessed are you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated. inside and around you. You will remember as you're walking through the day. Make this world a better place. Children will learn, and their future will be love. Love, only love with all your heart. Love, only love with all your soul. Listen to the wisdom inside and around you. You will remember in your home and on your way. Make your life a voice of God. Be a sculptor for the holy. Be a doorway for love. Love, only love with all your heart. Love, only love with all your soul. Listen to the wisdom inside and around you. You will remember. You will remember. You will remember.
We read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
Heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Yai, lai, lai, la, lai, la, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 ya, la, 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 lai. Ya, lai, la, lai, lai, yai, lai, la, la, lai. Ya, la, lai, lai, ya, la, 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 lai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha neder b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef eleh, nora tehilot osef eleh. Malchutecha ra'u banecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, Elianu ve'amru, Elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. ונאמר כיפדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
We read together. Bless our sleep with peace, Adonai, and awaken us to life when we rise. With power sublime, spread over us your shelter of shalom, and through your wisdom, restore us, make us whole.
Let your name proclaim your presence in our lives. Be our shield, make us stronger than the enemies we face. Carry us to safety as on wings. For you are the one who cares for us and sets us free. Watch over us, we who go forth to life. Watch over us, that we may come home in peace, now and till the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim.
Blessed are you, Adonai, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel, for in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day God ceased from work and was refreshed.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, odi le'olam, odi le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. It is now our pleasure to call up our bar mitzvah for tomorrow, Jaden Turek, and he will lead us in the Amidah. Please rise. Of course you
can. Do I start now? Adonai, Sefer Tatifta, Ufia Kitayata, Ha Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch et Adonai, Eloheinu, Ve'Elohe Avotenu, Ve'imotenu, Elohe Avraham, Elohe Yitzhak, Ve'Elohe Yaakov, Elohe Sarah, Elohe Rivka, Elohe Rahel, Ve'Elohe Leah, Ha'el Hagedol, Hagedor Ve'anorah, Eloheon Gomaya, Hasadayim Tovim, V'gonei Aho, Funbin, Umevi, Geula, Lavine, Vayinoheim, Lama'an, Shamo, Vavara, Meleth, Uzer, Umoshe, Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah.
Atah b'vor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Morid atah, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
You may be seated. Let's read together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. We join now in our prayer of peace, Shalom Rav, thinking of all the ways in which we aspire to make peace in our lives, peace in our families, and peace in our world.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Ki ata hu melech adon lecho hashalom. Ki ata hu melech adon lecho hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam. Tasim le'olam.
Now we take this moment in our service to think of those in our midst, those of our loved ones, those in our community, and those in the wider world who find themselves in need of healing. We pray for strength for each of them, strength and patience for those who stand by them, wisdom for those who care for them, as we pray for a refuah shlema, a full healing of body and spirit for each of them. So we'll take a moment now each to think of those for whom we're praying on this Shabbat before joining together in our Mishaberach of healing.
Mishaberach avotenu Abracha Lavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
We pause now, each for our own moment of silent prayer.
Say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, peace in the places above. Help us make that peace. Make that peace for us. Let that peace light the dark. Let it open our hearts. Let it find a way. And we say Amen. Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom al kol yoshvei tevel. Ve'imru, say shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu. Let that peace light the dark, let it open our hearts, let it find a way, and we say
All right, let's have a little fun. We're going to play a game that I call Guess the Holiday. So I'm going to give you a couple clues, and I want you to hold your answer in your head until the end. Don't shout it out. So the holiday that I'm thinking of is a celebration of romantic love. This holiday is connected to historical or legendary events from thousands of years ago. On this holiday, people give each other gifts, cards, chocolates, or go on special dates with their partners. And this holiday is smack dab in the center of the month that it is in. So anyone have any guesses? Yeah. So Valentine's Day is a very good guess, but it is not Valentine's Day. Anyone want to try one more time, or were we all thinking Valentine's Day? Okay. Oh, Jamie, what are you thinking? Tu B'Av, there we go. Okay. That's good. Yeah, so it isn't Valentine's Day. It is very close. So the holiday that many of us may not have heard of is called Tu B'Av. That is Tu, as in the Hebrew letters, Tet and Vav, which represent the number 15. So it is the 15th day of the month of Av, and it happens to begin tonight. So Tu B'Av, surprisingly, has received very little attention for most of Jewish history. And it really only took off in the modern era in the 90s. That is the 1990s, just to be clear. We've been around for a long time. In the 90s, the Israeli entertainment and beauty industry revitalized Tu B'Av as a commercial bonanza. Essentially, when it became Jewish Valentine's Day, people would spend money on gifts for their loved ones. And obviously, the more you spend, the more you love someone, right? No. Okay, I'm cynical. But I do think that there is a lot more for us to glean from Tu B'Av than just sending chocolate and cards with hearts on them that just happen to be in Hebrew instead of English. So for anyone who remembers, last Shabbat was a very different holiday. That is Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of the month of Av, which commemorated not only the destructions of both the first and second temple in Jerusalem, but also a number of other historical tragedies. If it's a terrible thing that happened to the Jews, we say it happened on that day. Bottom line, it's a very different kind of holiday, a glob of accumulated sorrows. But Tu B'Av is the opposite. Perhaps as a way of counteracting the overwhelming sadness of last week's holiday, Tu B'Av became associated with a number of joyful moments in biblical history. For example, the rabbis claim that it was on Tu B'Av that the tribe of Benjamin was readmitted to the Israelite community at large after they had waged a civil war against the other tribes. It was on this day that King Hosea canceled the guards on the road between the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah, so the people of the divided kingdom could celebrate the festivals in Jerusalem together. And, connecting it to the subject of love, it was the only day on which members of the 12 tribes of Israel were able to intermingle and intermarry. There are many other stories connected to Tu B'Av, but the central theme of each of these is repairing broken relationships, bringing people together, and finding common ground. The tribe of Benjamin is forgiven for its transgressions and brought back to the fold. The northern and southern kingdoms, so often torn apart by hate and jealousy, found a way to celebrate together. The divided peoples of the 12 tribes gathered to form connections, bringing them closer to becoming one holy community. It was a day of putting aside differences and rejoicing in shared humanity. And ancient depictions of the celebration of Tu B'Av suggest the same theme. We read in the Mishnah, a compilation of rabbinic law and wisdom from 2,000 years ago, in which the rabbis paint a picture of this holiday, a very vivid one. The young people of the holy city would borrow white clothes, so everyone would be dressed the same and no one would be embarrassed. And in the heat of the Jerusalem sun, they would make their way to the vineyards, dancing in joy, and as male suitors would come to meet them, they would say, "Young man, lift up your eyes and see what you choose for yourself. Do not set your eyes on beauty, but set your eyes on family." And then they would cite the book of Proverbs. "Grace is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman that fears the Lord, she shall be praised." Now this is I think, a beautiful and romantic scene. And it suggests that the participants at this meat market, M-E-E-T, just to be clear, were encouraged to try and look beneath the surface to find their life partner. Now, putting aside the potential misogyny of the men being the only ones doing the choosing, and of course the heteronormativity, there is something more here. What I find, particularly in the idea of all the women wearing the same white clothes, is that there is a leveling of the field. It isn't about how someone looks or dresses, it is about who they are. And now, to contradict myself, because that's what we do in Judaism, we know that physical attraction can be an important part of a healthy relationship, and bodily beauty has its place in the Jewish tradition. Musar literature, a genre dealing with ethics, suggests that cleaning one's body and wearing comfortable, functional clothing are a part of living a virtuous Jewish life. But caring about how we look in our tradition has very little to do with attracting a partner. In a midrash, a rabbinic story, Hillel the elder, the great first-century rabbi, is walking down the street, and his students ask him where he is going. "I'm going to perform a mitzvah, a commandment," he answers. His curious students ask, "Which one?" And he replies that he is going to take a bath at the bathhouse. Now you might be surprised, and they were too. "That's a mitzvah? Really? Are you sure?" And Hillel answers with a story, as rabbis often do. Of course, there are many statues of the king in public places, and the caretaker that polishes and takes care of them is richly rewarded and brought to meet the royal dignitaries. And for me, made in the image of God, how much more so should this apply? And here, in Hillel's story, we find what I believe can be the essence of Tu B'Av for us in our day. Now, to get to the idea that Hillel mentioned, you don't have to read that far into the Torah. In fact, one of the most important ideas in Judaism, and I would suggest one of the most important ideas in the world, happens less than one chapter into Genesis. You don't even get to the end of the first chapter before you find it. God says, "Let us create humankind in our image, in our likeness." And so God created humankind in the divine image, creating it in the image of God. There it is, 2 sentences. It is so profound and earth-shaking that you should have to stop just before you finish the chapter and read it again. I don't know how anyone ever made it any further into the book. There's so much to think about. Every human being, without exception, is a reflection of God, a sculpture of our Creator on earth, to be cherished and tended. This week in our Torah portion, we read the second version of the 10 Commandments and are forbidden from making graven images of God. Now, why does the Torah forbid idolatry? Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, 20th century thinker, gives us a very good answer. And it is not, as we often hear, because God has no image. It's in fact the opposite. It is precisely because God has an image that idols are forbidden. You are the image of God. But the only medium in which you can shape that image is that of your entire life. To take anything less than a full, living, breathing human being and to try to create God's image out of it, that diminishes the divine. And that is idolatry. So, when we look at anyone who walks through the doors of our building, of this synagogue, and anyone who walks into our lives, there is always that lizard part of our brain from when we came down from the trees that makes us afraid of the unknown, afraid of someone who might look different. And here in a synagogue, we're that much more careful in these days. But that person, whoever it is, a midrash on the book of Psalms tells us, is preceded by a company of angels who proclaim, "Make way for the image of the Holy Blessed One." Every single person. We should see those angels and realize that we are looking at the face of God. that might help us be a little less judgmental and more curious and caring towards the people that we meet. And I would say the best part about having a minor holiday like Tu B'Av that we only know so much about is that there is so much more potential to shape what it means. Tu B'Av, as a holiday of love, could draw our attention to this simple premise that all of us are made in God's image. Like the most important ideas in the world, it is simple to grasp and difficult to internalize and put into practice. Let us work towards that on this day. Let us begin to know and feel that every act of love towards another person is an act of love towards God, and that there is nowhere in our world where God is not present, because human beings make God present. Then everything else falls away. Gender and sports teams and tribes and politics and whether you like Star Wars or Star Trek more. Those are gone. Unless, and this is a big unless, someone comes along and threatens to undermine the humanity of another person. You shut that down right away and try to teach that person in a way that they are able to hear. And even that can be an act of love for a fellow human being. So I think it may be time for us to put aside our candy and our cards and try to give our fellow human beings, all mirrors of the divine, the kind of gift that they deserve on this Tu B'Av: kindness, acceptance, dignity, and an acknowledgement of the divine that dwells within each of us. This is a far more worthy and, frankly, cheaper gift than a box of Lindor truffles. Shabbat Shalom. We are not sponsored by Lindor truffles. So a few quick announcements. Everything you could ever need to know about the wonderful things happening at our temple, wonderful and diverse things, you can find at our temple website, www.zedek.org. Make it your homepage so you won't miss out on anything. I want to draw our attention to tomorrow, of course. Jaden Turek is becoming Bar Mitzvah. We are so happy to celebrate with him and his family. If you'd like to double dip on your Shabbat worship, we are having our bagel minyan at the museum. Ben Stiller will not be there, but Rabbi Joel Simon will. That will be at the Tampa Bay History Center at 10:30 in the morning. You can come by. We have a quick informal service with bagels, and then we will make our way around the museum together, learning about who we are. And learning about our history is so important because it helps us understand who we want to become. Everything else you can find on the website. I do want to also point out that on Saturday, August 26th, right? Friday the 26th? Friday, August 26th is the Taste of Schaarai Zedek. It's going to be a really wonderful service. We have the band here. We have the choir here. We have the band here and will be the choir.
Yeah, that's right. That's all.
Will be the choir. We'll all sing together. There will be food. There will be fun. It'll be a really nice time for us to come together just as summer is coming to a close. Everything else you can find on the website.
There might even be Lindor. Is that the brand?
Lindor truffles, yeah. You never heard of them?
Lint, I thought?
Lint?
L-I-N-D-T?
Lint?
How do you say it?
Linder.
Lindor's the company. Lint's the whatever.
That's it.
All right, Bob, I'm going to have you come join me. So, Bob, I know you are celebrating a very, very special birthday today, 29? Yes. And it's another anniversary also. And, you know, I was thinking about you when we were talking about Shabbat and kind of thinking about everything that we want to leave behind and looking ahead to everything that is exciting, that's on the way. And for you, you've experienced some difficulty. You've had some adversity in a lot of different ways, and I think a birthday can also be that opportunity to take that breath, to think about how we've moved forward in the year that passed and how we can look ahead to the year that comes. And Bob, you really have taught all of us so much about how to face that adversity with both humility and strength. And I know you have been so supported by this community, just as you've always been so willing to support those in this community who needed your strength as well. So can I share the other anniversary? Sure. So this is also the anniversary of the completion of Bob's treatment for cancer. So it's another kind of birthday, right? Yeah. So, Bob, our blessing for you is that you are moving forward and that you have new opportunities and new strength and new chances still to take strength from the community that loves you, but also we know that you're going to be giving that love to everyone who needs it throughout this year that comes. So in that spirit, I'm going to have Rabbi Weiss and Cantor join me. We can sing it. Does anyone else have a birthday that we can sing happy birthday to? Okay, so we'll sing happy birthday to Bob, and then we'll offer a special blessing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bob. Happy birthday to you. And
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
may God's light shine upon you, and may God continue to be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God lift you up and give you the great gift of peace. May God always be with you as you move from strength to strength to strength. And may you take that strength and help others through the challenges that they face in their lives. May God give you peace so that you may share it with others and the world. And we'll say together,
Amen.
Amen. And it's not as good in the cake as the cake and other goodies that are waiting for you, but of course, we have a box of sweet Schaarai Zedek raisins for you. Bob, happy birthday. We're glad to share it with you.
Happy birthday, Shabbat Shalom. And we will begin to conclude our service as we rise together for Aleinu.
Hakol latet gedula liyotzer breshit shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama shelo sam chelkenu kahem vegoralenu kecho hamonam va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamelachim hakadosh baruch hu v'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
You may be seated. We miss them at celebrations when there's an empty seat at the table. We miss them when the community gathers and there's an empty place beside us. We miss them today and every today with every year that passes as our life goes on without them. Their faces, their voices, the feel of our arms around them, these are with us forever. For so it is written, love is as strong as death. The love that we gave, the love we received, these endure amid the pain of loss. It is at this time that we think of those in our lives who saw and nurtured the divine in us and inspired us to see that holiness in others. We join together as a community in remembering those who have died in recent days. We remember Harvey Freeman, Susan Stout, Neil Schwartz, Miriam Bladen, Marcy Traven, Marilyn Rothman, and to be laid to rest, we think of Betty Goldenberg. At this time, we also remember those in our community whose yahrzeits we commemorate on this Shabbat, the memorials of whose deaths we remember. Elizabeth Alden, John Alden, Adele Bass, Murray Beck, Heyman Berkman, Donald Berkowitz, Pasha Brodkin, Lillian Bruck, Charlene Cordova, Ben Elstein, Anna Epstein, Washington Falk III, Esther Feld, Fred Firestone, Herbert Friedman, Harriet Glazer, Milton Goldman, Stephen Grupp, Phyllis Hall, Pearl Hess, Karen Holmes, Max Israelson, Walter Kessler, Emily Landis, Jean Lasday, Gertrude Lotman, Nathan Lutz, Florence Mandelbaum, Irene Mandelblatt, Jacob Markowitz, Alan Marks, Anna Massa, David Mensch, Rose Newman, Albert Perry, Audrey Portnoy, Saul Rachelson I, Nathan Reif, Maynard Robinson, Eleanor Rosenthal, Jack Ross, Mary Saunders, Benjamin Savitsky, Ava Schwartzbach, Murray Siegel, Jacob Seinfeld, Milton Sirota, Jean Smiles, Lee Staffen, Paul Sullivan, Donna Francine Tisdale, Bruce Tischler, Alexander Unrod, Frederick Weiss, Jean Whitman. And to those names we add the names of all of our loved ones who, though they are not here with us, they always live on through us in our hearts. This time I invite you to take just a silent moment to remember those we're remembering at their brightest, strongest, and kindest moments. And taking all of those names, all of that love in our hearts together, we rise as a community to say the words of the Mourner's Kaddish, a prayer giving thanks to God for sharing such special lives with us. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divarach hirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agala u'v'zman karib v'imru. Amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudashah b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say together, Amen. And now,
Ma yafeh hayom. What a beautiful day today Shabbat is.
and Tu B'Av.
And Tu B'Av, that's right. Sorry. It's Shabbat. Ma yafeh hayom. Shabbat shalom. Ma yafeh hayom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat. Shalom.
And
Now we're going to invite up Jaden Turret. Come on back, Jaden. We're going to ask you to come hold the challah right here. And we're going to invite up all young people who are 18 and younger. Come on up and join Jaden on the bima as we join together in our motzi so that we can enjoy the wonderful treats that are awaiting us in the social
and
hall.
for
Because she got the question.
That's right, Jamie gets challah too. Come on up.
And for any of those people coming up here who are in the process of training for their bar bat mitzvah service, make sure you sign in outside the sanctuary.
That's right. Okay, here we
Now
go.
we bless.
Ready? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tei avon, take a piece of challah. It's good.
It's good. They get to try it first. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. May God bless our people with strength and give us the gift of peace. On this Shabbat and on this Tu B'Av, may we see the angels leading others, and may they see the angels leading us. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Piano's not muted, is it?
It's so good.
Have some challah, my dear. Take as much as you want. Take the whole thing. Take it home to your kids. All right, my mic is causing a problem.
Yeah. Tell you what, though,
No, he's fine. I like him.
as many issues we had tonight, when you sang, it was so shalom, this mic, that piano,
Yeah.
was freaking wonderful.
I mean, I love
I
this.
could hear you breathing, it was that sensitive.
Huh.
I could hear you take like a breath.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I mean, this.
I mean, I could do it as long as, you know, I
No,
just,
no, I'm just saying this.
let's see what it's doing. See if it's doing it again.
It's doing the thing.
That's what did it, was my mic.
How old are these packs?
This one, I mean, really, I don't, now it's fine.
Oh.
But you know what? It could go at any moment. Who knows what does it? I don't know.
What are you looking for?
So anyway, I just wanted to
Thank
compliment you, I wanted you to.
Jan, thank you.
Thank you. That's so sweet, thank you. All right.
Thank you. All right. And you'll see what you can figure out.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm guessing it's just restarted.
Yeah, can I reboot it or?
Yeah.
or-
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
just lose the feed.
Okay.